We are live. Welcome to episode 3 of the show. I'm here. My name is Ross Poindexter. Reset You. I'm here with Mr. Brandon Straker, aka the Bot of Thunder.
Bro,
how are you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. I'm psyched to be doing this again. I'm psyched to be episode 3.
We're killing it. We're 3 weeks straight.
3 weeks straight.
I feel like most people that try to do podcasts kind of die out, around this time. They're like, oh, can't do it.
Dude, you see it all the time, right? Like I'll be searching through different stuff and I'll see like, oh, there'll be one that sounds like kind of a killer name or maybe you're searching for a certain topic or something like that. And you'll see like episode 1, 2, and it's like in 2016,
Yeah.
And people are just kind of like, fuck it, and so, I think that's important. We talked about it the other day, when we were live in our like Reset You group. And I guess before I continue there, let's just throw it out there. This podcast is brought to you by Reset You, which is a company owned by some like really good looking, smart dudes, right?
Yeah.
Owned and operated by some really good looking, smart dudes, and that teach people how to reset their hormones and metabolism. So, if you guys want to know more about that, you go to resetyoufitness.com or check them out on YouTube where you could be watching this or
yeah. Because if they are watching us on YouTube, they would know that Reset You is owned by some pretty good looking dudes. Like, if you're listening on Spotify or other streaming platforms, you probably can't tell. Maybe we've got some pretty sexy voices, maybe. I don't know.
Right. Let me get extra sexy here, brother.
Yeah.
Let me get extra sexy. Sexy voices, brother.
Where do we want to start today? What are we covering?
Well, I guess just like right off the bat, like we were talking about like this 3 weeks in a row doing this. And, I think it's important, like momentum's such an important thing, and especially when it comes to being fit, being successful, whether you're entrepreneur, whether you're just trying to like lose 10 pounds, whether you're trying to repair your relationship with your wife because you've been fucking up, just like, bettering your life in any way, momentum is critical,
Yeah.
And that's something that like, that's one of the reasons that we've been taking action on like doing this and so many other things. We were talking about it the other day. Like we have our list of stuff we got to do every day. Right?
Yep.
And one of our big ones is like, we have these statements where we like commitments that we read out loud to ourselves that are written down and we review our goals every morning. And then, I'm looking at my list right here, I'm like podcast, Instagram story, Instagram post, Facebook video, got soccer practice with a kid, working out, fasting, I have on here, like, I gotta do my, my shake with my greens, my avocado or my omega-3s. And then I got in here, I already, take my salmon out of the freezer because there's nothing worse than like forgetting to do some shit like that. Right. And then all of a sudden you don't have your food. It's frozen. Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so like, it's important to do that and to have momentum. And so like we write this stuff down, but momentum, is powerful, right?
Totally, man. I think first off, thank you for reminding me to take my salmon out of the freezer. Second off,
I just said that because I haven't done it yet, bro. Like it's on the list right here. We jumped on to do this podcast. It's like,
shit, I forgot.
Fuck, it's noon, right? So it's like, dude, I better take that out to get it thawed in time before dinner. Otherwise, what happens when you forget to do that shit, dude?
You stress out and you're like, what am I going to do? You got to like thaw it out into stupid.
Yeah. Or all of a sudden you're going to grab takeout or some bullshit like that, right?
That's what's happening. Yeah.
You fail to plan, you plan to fail, man.
Yeah, exactly. But going on momentum, like writing things out like that, like you were saying, super consistently is a huge key. But I think my biggest key to building momentum is by constantly doing things out of my comfort zone. That is the biggest way I personally grow and develop and build that momentum. And whether it's doing a podcast, whether it's trying different avenues of fitness or, going out to meet people at a specific event or something like that, always being uncomfortable I'm going to rephrase that. Being comfortable with the uncomfortable
Right.
is how I personally build my momentum.
For sure, man. You know, like you have to keep challenging yourself,
Yeah.
right? You know, and if you don't, like if you're not in the habit of like continuing to push yourself, like fuck, we always talk about it, but like one of the truest things I ever heard, you know, or really ever came up with that a bunch of personal development people like Tony Robbins and stuff like that stole from me, you know,
Yeah.
was really they all stole it from me, brother. One of the biggest sayings, brother, was you you know, like the key to happiness is progress, brother. You know, but that's true, right? You know, like when we like, I know for sure the times I feel the worst, right, are when I'm not making progress, dude. When I feel stuck, you know, when I'm just like in that, even if you have some pretty good habits, but you don't feel like you're moving forward.
Yeah.
You know, like it, you know, all of a sudden you get you start to get a little bit down, you know. And I think one of the keys to momentum for sure is feeling like you're making progress, you know,
every single day.
Absolutely, man. You got to feel like you're pushing forward, you know, because you're never really just sitting still. Like you're always either moving forward or backwards. You know, that's the thing about momentum is it's always working, right? It's just carrying you one direction or the other. It's either carrying you towards your goals or away from them. You know, you're never really stagnant. And when we get into negative momentum, you know, it's fucking tough to break, man. You know?
Totally, man.
You know, I think like, I don't know if you like, I mean, you have to have been there. We've all been there, right?
Of course.
Where you're just in that place where all of a sudden you get into a habit that you don't like. And then you're so stuck in that habit that you just can't stop doing it. Like for me, I used to chew tobacco, right? Mm-hmm. You know, and I remember doing it and being like, I don't even fucking like this anymore.
Yeah,
you know?
dude.
And
I remember that.
And then like going, well, I'm going to stop tomorrow. And then you go down to the gas station or something, you go to get a coffee, you stop by there and they're like, hey, and you've been there so many fucking times, they're already grabbing you a can of dip or something, you know, like, and then you're like, okay, fuck it, you know, one more time. And then you break that commitment to yourself. And then you just, God, dude, you just don't respect yourself a little bit, you know?
Dude, absolutely.
We do the same thing with working out and dieting too, right?
You know what I mean? Yeah. If you relate it back to like a fitness level, you know, building that momentum, if you're doing the same thing every day and not getting results and you're not progressing, you know, like everybody always says, you know, and definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. If you're going to keep doing that, why would you expect to see anything different? Right. And that, you know, if your fitness plan is not working or your nutrition plan is not working, you know that you got to make a change and you got to try something different, and you have to be willing to learn. You've got to be willing to change. And I think that's where a lot of people fucking struggle.
Yeah, because you can get like, let's say you decide you're going to try to like instill some new habits, right? You know, you finally break the negative momentum, like, because like I said, it's going two ways. So like I've been there myself too, where you're like, fuck, I'm going to go, like, I'm going to get, you know, back on my diet, right? You know, I'm going to get back to, I'm going to stop bullshit. And then you finally get back on it, but you know, and you stop eating, you know, pizza and chips or some shit.
Yeah.
Bathing in whiskey. And, you know, and then you get back to where you're, you know, making some healthy decisions. But if then all of a sudden you're not seeing results from those. Yeah. What most people do is they hit the fuck button and they completely quit. Right. Mm-hmm. You know, and rightfully so, you know, like we always say, you know, if you quit a job that doesn't pay you, it's a smart move. You know, like it's not, you know, same thing with your workout plan, rightfully so. Like, and then most people label themselves a quitter though, and they feel bad about themselves rather than looking and taking inventory and going, yo, you know, like what was wrong with this? Why wasn't I getting results? Because I know that having a good workout plan or good nutrition plan can get you results. Something about mine was missing. Mm-hmm. It's not just that like, because I have the one body in the world that defies all science or some shit, you know? Yeah. You know, there's something wrong. And rather than completely quitting and stopping and getting stuck and just going, well, nothing will work and I'm a quitter and I can't stick with anything, because you shouldn't stick with a program that doesn't work. Many times people don't go, okay, what do I need to change and how do I keep progressing, moving forward? What adjustments do I need to make so that I do get results? You know, what was working about my plan and what wasn't, and what do I change, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, kind of jumping off of that, you know, it's not even people who are like out of shape and not getting results from their plan. It's people who have been in like working out for so long. But because they've been working out for so long, they've kind of got that ego of like, you know, oh, I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for so long. I know what I'm doing. But maybe they're still not where they want to be, and they're going to keep trying what they think they know to get results. And I think that was like, I used to be like that, you know, back in like college and stuff. I remember I was like, oh, I work at a gym. I work out all the time. Like, I know exactly what I'm doing. But you know, getting rid of that ego and always being willing to learn in all avenues of life, not just health and fitness. That's how I'm progressing every single day.
You know, I think you really touched on a good point there, man. And like, cause I was that way, you know, so like, this is my 19th year being in the fitness industry. Or when I was 17, as a trainer. And like, when I first got certified, I thought I fucking knew it all, dude.
Right.
I thought I knew it all. Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, and most of it was the old fitness myths. You got to cut your calories, can't eat fat, you need to eat 6 times a day. You know, you got to do cardio, you got to do all these different things. Right.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of half truths. And then, you know, so many times we fall into a place where, you know, we continue to do things a certain way because that's the way we've always done them. Whether they've really, you know, or because maybe they got us results at one point, even a little bit of results, but, you know, they haven't continued to work, you know? And so, you know, and so like we do that. But the other thing about it is too, is like one thing I've noticed now, like you're talking about, like when you begin to learn, like the more you know, the more you realize how fucking stupid you are, you know? Because like having done this for 20 years, I know a million times more than I did back then. Right.
Yeah.
But I feel way dumber now than I did then, even though I'm at like, this is, you know, we're professionals, right? This is what we do. We change lives on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
But, I feel like I'm not the scientist in the lab doing the studies. I'm the guy reading the studies, right? Done by the scientists. Right?
Yeah. No, I mean, we're still students, you know.
Yeah.
Like, sure we teach people, you know, how to get results, but we're still learning every single day.
Right. But so many people, like they read a muscle and fitness magazine or like they do their very first bodybuilding competition maybe, and they, you know, and then all of a sudden they're an expert and stuff. And then many times they struggle to keep seeing results, or they give out, they're out giving other people bad advice, or, you know, it's so one of the things that you really notice is the more you learn, the more you spend time learning, the more humble it makes you when it comes to your knowledge level and different things, you know, and the more open-minded it makes you. And I think it's important with that too, to, you know, one thing I've learned with this too, is like, especially with fitness, people get so stuck in their, they get so tribal, right? Like you have so many people that are all about, like, they're either about vegan or they're about low fat, or they're like, you know, about like doing a lot of cardio, or they're about like, they have these certain beliefs they get entrenched in, or just keto, or just like intermittent fasting and stuff. People have to understand that they're like, and then they research just things that support those, and they get stuck in a lot of confirmation bias, right? Where they're only seeking out information that supports what they believe.
Yeah.
Versus like, you know, learning about other things. And I encourage everybody out there to, you know, to spend time, you know, researching all the different viewpoints. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally. And, you know, that I was like super inspired the other day. You know, I was talking to someone who signed up with us at Reset You, and she's done like a bunch of like half marathons and stuff, and she's doing an Ironman. I think I told you about this. You know, she's doing an Ironman in September, and she signed up with us because she wants to be that best version of herself by the time she does that. Obviously, it's a crazy big event. She wants to finish, and if she doesn't finish, you know, it's on her bucket list. If she doesn't finish it, you know, that's just, you know, more time that's going to be wasted. It's like a now or never thing for her. So she just wants to learn, and she wants to be in the you know, obviously she's in shape and stuff because she's been doing all this, but she's willing to grow and learn. And that's kind of why, you know, that's
such a huge thing, right, man? That's such a huge thing, because like, what is it about human beings that, like, for some reason we lose a little bit of our curiosity, right? You know, like when we're kids, Like we just want to figure everything out. Like think of like all the stupid questions that we ask when we're kids. Right?
Dude,
Or
yeah,
anybody who's a
totally,
parent
man.
has had their kids ask them all kinds of, not even dumb questions, but like questions like why is, why do rainbows happen? Or like why is the sun that color? Or how come the sky is blue? Or like we have all these questions when we're kids, or like, or even just like when we're always trying to figure stuff out, or when we fail, when we're learning to walk, we get up, we try to walk, we eat shit, we get back up. We never stop though. We just keep going. Right.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the way, something happens where we stop being curious, and we fail, we mess stuff up, or like maybe we derive our personal value from feeling like we know everything, or we see some sort of a weakness in understanding that we don't know everything versus being curious. And, we really get to this point where, we stop being curious and going, hey, what happens if I do this? And if I fail, like what'll happen if I change this, to being like, well, I don't want to do this because I might not be good at it, or I don't want to do this because I might fail at it. You see that a lot with fitness too, right? Where people have failed so many times in the past that, they enter into their next fitness program, or they're like, well, I'd really like to get in shape, or maybe I'd really like to, lose some body fat, or maybe I really like to do, this or that. And they're like, but I failed last time. And so they head into it like with this cautious optimism, but almost maybe not even optimism, but they head into it going, well, I'd like to, but I failed in the past, so I probably won't, but it would be really cool if I did. And they're kind of setting themselves up for failure. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Dude, oh yeah. No, I think it's simply just an ego. I think that's probably like the thing that, as we grow up, we obtain.
Yeah.
And that's what limits us. I don't know how or why it comes, but
I know. Like, I think to be honest, like I always wonder myself, is it a grade system in school? Is there something like, about like, like I know that may sound like fucking crazy, right? But like, is it like when we're kids and we're learning to do stuff and we're being tested and stuff.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it becomes from like, hey, instead of it being a situation where in school you're testing, you're like, okay, you got this wrong. Let's see how we can fix it, or why we got it wrong too. Oh, you got it wrong. You get an F.
Yeah.
You get this grade where you're either up here or you're down here.
Yeah.
Versus like, looking at failure as an opportunity, because failure in life is a learning opportunity. But as we grow up in these schools, right, we're taught that failure means you're no good. We're taught that failure means you're going to be nothing. You're not going back. Yeah, you're not going to get to go to college. You're going to be held back. You're not as good as everyone else or have as much value. And so people are constantly avoiding failure at all costs, right?
Yeah.
Versus like going, hey, like taking some chances. We're taught that failure is this bad thing.
Yeah.
And I think that might have a lot to do with it. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah. No, maybe, man. Because you legit get disciplined if you fail. And, now that you're like, you start adulting, you go to college and stuff, nothing really happens if you fail, just because like, maybe you've got a decent job, pays the bills. But that's it. You keep doing that.
Right. And then you see it all the time, man. People get stuck in that shit, right? People get stuck in their decent job. Like, well, what's crazy about the system now, and like, it's wild how it's built to like funnel people into going to college and then getting some job, right? And you'll see how people like you went to school, right? Like you go to you go to college, right? People have to take out these outrageous student loans, right?
Yeah.
And so then you finally graduate college, and like the dream that's sold to you from a time you're a kid is like, hey, if you want to get a good job, you want to have a good life, you got to go to college. So you go to college, you take out these student loans to pay for your college, unless you're like a phenomenal athlete or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. And then at that point you get out of school, and and then all of a sudden you have a degree in communications or some shit, or marketing or whatever it is. And then you're like, well, I got to go get a job. And then you're in this spot where, you have this huge amount of debt, a fucking mortgage payment, right? And now you got to get a job. And now you're like applying for jobs. And what do like being someone that hired people for a long time in the fitness industry, what did I look at? Did I give a shit if someone had a college education? Nope. I wanted someone with experience that knew how to do sales or knew how to do this or knew how to do that.
Hardworking. They got the attitude for it. Yeah.
If they had a college education, that's a plus, right? But I was looking at other things. Are they willing to grow? Are they willing to learn? And so a lot of people, they get out of college and there's not like a job waiting for them unless they're in somewhere, maybe they had an internship, but for most people there's not, right? Absolutely. And so what do? You find the first fucking job you can to start paying off this student debt and make some money and survive, right? And start this life that's been awaiting you. And then many people, they get caught in that. And then before you know it, maybe they're in a relationship. Maybe there's that pressure to buy a ring or something like that, right? Maybe you knock someone up, you got a kid. Now you have this college debt, you got a kid, now you got a mortgage payment, and you're working at that corporate job and stuff like that, or that job that you didn't really plan on, that wasn't really your dream, right? And then you're in that cubicle and you're doing the same thing over and over. We get caught up in that, right? And people feel trapped, you know what I mean?
That is, I want to talk about this so bad. I could talk about this for hours, but dude, it's literally like all I see, is like when you do get caught in that job to pay off your bills, and then you just get stuck in the same routine over and over again. You wake up, you go to work, you're too tired after work to go to the gym, so you come back, eat like crap at lunch because you didn't bring your Tupperware to the office, and then you're too tired and you go to bed, or you go out for Taco Tuesday drinks to escape your weekly struggle, or you
get that dopamine rush, right? Just
go to brunch every single weekend. The weekends are where people fall apart. Grind all week at their job, working hard, sure.
Happy hour on Friday night.
If you want to get out of that routine that you're in, you can't kill it on the weekends. Use your weekends to progress yourself and get out of that routine. And that, I see it every day, bro. Every day.
Yeah, man.
And I wonder what goes on in people's mind like that. But
you think they just need a break, right? They're just trying to fucking
no, it's an escape from reality, bro.
Yeah, it's just what it is. Dude, this week it's finally over. It's finally Friday, right? And then it's like boom, it's happy hour on Friday, a couple cocktails, right? Wake up late on Monday or on Saturday a little hungover, so you don't feel like going to the gym. Fuck it, let's go out, let's get some lunch and stuff. Maybe we'll go to the mall and just buy some shit we don't need or something, right?
Yeah, man.
And then go back out Saturday night, go to dinner, have a couple more cocktails, eat some pasta or something like that, and then people in relationships, they're feeling fat, they have all this food, they don't have sex, their sex life suffers, right?
Yeah.
They're both on their phones, not even communicating with each other. And then, they wake up the same thing, do the same thing Sunday, and then go back to work Monday feeling like shit, even a little worse. And then it just, that cycle that perpetuates, right?
Yeah. And I think the big, like I said, I could talk about this for hours, but I think the big picture and the moral of all this conversation is that you got to start thinking big picture and long term. If you are tired of your routine, don't spend your free time on your weekends escaping reality. Use that time to get out of your routine, make some sacrifices. So your friends might say you're lame. Your friends might say, you've changed. Change is good.
Yeah.
If somebody tells me I've changed, Brandon, I say, fuck yeah, thank you.
Goddamn right, brother.
You're goddamn right. I appreciate that.
Change for the better, brother.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to, man. Yeah. Adapt or die, right? It's important, and that brings up another good point, and we talked about it in our group day before yesterday, right? Which is the consequences of our actions. I think we talked about that, the consequences of our actions not being immediate, right? And I think that's a big problem, with this stuff with the weekend and falling into these habits that most people fall into. I think one of the really important things to creating some change in your life is sitting back and asking myself, if the consequences of my actions were immediate, would I make this decision? Because, we always talk about, if smoking that cigarette was going to give you cancer right away, would you do it?
Yeah, hell no.
No. If eating that cheeseburger is going to make you fat right away, would you do it? If it's going to give you heart disease right away, would you do it? No, man, you would not do it, right?
Yeah.
If working out right away was going to give you the six pack, would you do it? You know, like, hell yeah, you would, you know, and that's the problem though, is the consequences of our actions aren't immediate, both positive and negative. So we got to sit there and look at everything we do and be like, you know, if the negative consequences were going to be immediate, would I do this? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. Then don't do it. You know, if the positive consequences of this action, of working out, of taking that online class, maybe to get out of the job that you don't like, or like if of paying the money for the personal trainer, or signing up at the gym, you know, if the consequences of that action were going to immediate, if you immediately, you know, if you hired the trainer, you know, if you joined Reset You, you know, if you bought the gym membership or whatever, you're going to immediately have the six pack. Would you spend the $500 or $600 for that trainer or gym membership, or $1,000 or $10,000? Would you pay it? Most people would come up with that 10 grand, right? If they were immediately going to have the six pack, you know. So, but like, we don't live in that world, you know, when it comes to this stuff. So like, it doesn't happen like that. But with a little discipline, it can, right?
Yeah. Oh, dude, absolutely. Absolutely, man. And I think another, you know, we've been talking about, you know, momentum, you know, willingness to learn, getting rid of that ego, getting out of your comfort zone. Another big key to that is having the right support group around you.
Absolutely, man.
Dude,
and like, you
got people that are constantly going out every weekend, or like wanting to do things that are going to keep you away from progressing. How are you set up into a good situation where you're going to succeed?
Right. Well, and you had a great segue to that I really fucked up just a couple minutes ago. Like, to be honest with you, when you specifically lost my video here for a second. When you specifically,
I'm the better looking one here anyway.
When you specifically said, you know, when you specifically said, you know, your friends say you've changed and stuff, right?
Dude, yeah, right.
You know, like, here's the thing, like, too many times we surround ourselves with people that don't support us, you know, and like the simple fact of the matter is, one of the truest things I've ever heard is, like, you're a product of the people that you surround yourself with the most. You know what I mean? And you know, if you're surrounding yourself with people that, you know, that ask you why. Like, that's the thing, that, like, people that ask you why you're going to do that. Like, that's one of the things that, like, you got to, like, one of the things, like, I remember listening to Kevin Smith one time, like, said this, it was a great quote, but he said, you got to surround yourself with those why not motherfuckers, right? The people I want to go do something. They go, why not, man? How can I help? You know, that's who you got to surround yourself with. Yeah. Too many times we're around people, like, and for many people, it's the people that's closest to you. You know, like your spouse, your girlfriend, your best friend and stuff, you know, and because a lot of times when people see you trying to progress, they see you trying to make a difference, you know, it really sheds a spotlight. It puts a spotlight on what they're not doing, and they feel worse about what they're not doing.
It's so always insecurity, dude. Yeah,
exactly, man. And so you gotta, you know, surround yourself. That's one of the reasons that we love, like, the group that we do with Reset You, right? Because, you know, you have a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of why not people sitting here surrounding you going, like, hey, how can I help? You know, how, like, and you need that, because none of us ever accomplishes anything in life on our own.
Totally, dude. And that's, you know, like you said, that is a big reason why we have our group at Reset You is, you know, we had, like, individual clients, like one-on-one clients at first, right? But obviously we couldn't help as many people as we wanted to with that. And so with the group, you know, we're able to help more people, but also give them that environment that, you know, some people might not be fortunate enough to have, which is that support group. Because that's what goes such a long way. You know, so many people think that they are that one person who can't get results, or that one person who can't get rid of this lingering pain or something like that. It's just, that's who they are. But so many people have that same issue. And when you come together and, you know, work through it together and have the right plan to get rid of that or see progress, that's when the progress starts coming. And that's when people's minds start exploding. They're like, damn, that shit's dope.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like, so, like, It's a crazy thing about the human experience, man. It's like we feel like it's so exclusive to us, you know, like
Yeah.
all these fears and insecurities and stuff like that. Like we're the only person that has them. You know? We're the
Yeah.
only person that feels lonely. We're the only person that feels afraid to fail. We're the only person that, you know, feels unworthy or,
I
you
used to
know,
feel like that
or
all the time, dude.
yeah, like all of us do, man. I still like I get lonely, you know, I
Yeah.
get like I feel down, like I feel,
Yeah.
you know, it's part of being a human, you know. One of the
Yeah.
things that I learned with like with our, you know, coach that we're working with is, you know, you see there's more negative emotions than there is positive emotions. And
Mhm.
like, you know, we have like joy, passion, love, you know, and then we have like, you know, guilt, shame, pain, anger, fear. We have way more negative emotions than we have positive emotions. And like, you know, you're going to feel, unfortunately, part of the human experience is like feeling that more of the time because there's more of those emotions, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like, it's unrealistic to think you're going to feel perfect all the time, you know?
Yeah.
And it's important with that to understand, to surround yourself to, because like, you know, it's a little bit better to feel that stuff with someone else than it is by yourself. You know what I mean?
Dude, yeah.
And we want to have people, you got to have people there to pick you up. You know what I mean? And you got to be there to pick other people up.
Yeah, man. Like never let somebody, you know, take you away from trying to do something new that's going to progress you. You know, if they
Yeah.
are doing that and you feel like you're going to let that affect your decision, I get that person out of your life. I hope I'm not causing any divorces or anything over here right now. But if your spouse is like, no, you shouldn't do that. That's stupid. But you inside know deep down that that's going to progress you and get you to where you want to be and make you a better person. What are you doing? Why
Well,
would you?
I mean, bro, we
Decisions
see it all
made.
the time with fitness, right? Like we see it all the time with people like when it comes to like, I used to see it all the time in gyms when someone want to join the gym and their spouse would be like, you can't afford that. Or you haven't, you know, you always do this and you never follow through or something like that.
Yeah.
Or whether it used to be like hiring trainers or even like joining our program, like it
Yeah.
happens, right? Like 100% transparency, it does, you know?
Huh.
Um, and like, you got to ask yourself in that scenario, number one, like, yo, like if I failed in the past, like you got to be like, you got to be here to support me in the future, but you got to ask yourself like, if that person really loves me that much, you know, if they really love me, they should have my back. They should support me in this. They shouldn't be, you know, you got to ask yourself, does that person really love me that much? Do they have my best interests at heart? Why
Yeah.
do they not support me? And at some point you have to have a conversation with them and be like, you know, listen, if like this relationship is going to continue, you know, whether it's a friendship, a spouse, any relationship, a working relationship, partnership, you gotta, you know, you have to have that conversation. And it might be a difficult one where you go like, listen, you have to be there to support me in my goals, you know, and it's also on me to follow through. It's also on me to like give it my best, you know,
Yeah.
and not let you down for supporting me, you know. Like I need to be committed, but you have to be willing to support me. And so many times we see that where like husbands are insecure about their wife getting better looking and stuff, and maybe like, you know, other men liking them, and they're just sitting
Yeah.
there
It's
drinking
huge.
beer and fucking off and not like taking care of themselves, and they're not ready to take action in their life, so they don't want their wife to. Or we'll
Yeah.
see like the same thing with the women where like, you know, maybe they're worried that other women are going to like their husband, and they're not willing to go, you know, better themselves and get in shape. It works both ways, you know, and you have that jealousy and insecurity there preventing them. And then, and, you know, it's important for people to come together and be like, you know, you want to have a spouse that's like, you know what, you want to do it? Fuck it. I'll do it too. You know,
Yeah.
let's do this. Let's go get it together. Right.
Yeah. And I just don't really get why that is so hard for people to understand. Like, just do it together. Or like if you don't have the same interests or like the same support both ways, like block that shit out, bro.
Yeah. You know, I think, you know, why do we get into that place, you know, um, I
Well, kind
think
of goes
it,
back to the ego thing, I feel
yeah,
like
I
we
think it
talked about.
does. You know, I think people like, once again, we get fallen in ruts, you know, maybe you have one spouse that's stuck in that negative momentum and they're really in a place where they don't have the belief in themselves yet, or they're not ready to change. They don't want to change or something like that, you know, you know, and they have failed so many times in the past. And I think one thing that's important for people to understand is like we talked about already, failure's not, it's not this like permanent thing. It's not this all or nothing thing that means that you're a failure, you'll never be successful again, you'll never be good. Like, we got to look at failure as like, hey, what did I learn? And go like, well, just because I failed in the past, that doesn't mean that, like, I'll never be successful in like achieving this goal.
Yeah.
It just means that whatever I did previously didn't work, like, so I need to do something different this time around.
Yeah.
And instead of like continuing to do that same shit, which is something we kind of started off talking about, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it all kind of leads up to like procrastinating as well, because, if you keep putting stuff off because of, your spouse or a mental block that you've got, you're just wasting time. And before you know it, you're 10 years down the line, your body is in worse condition than it was before. You're still unhappy. And you feel like, and then you start having that feeling of like, I've wasted so much time. I've lost, and I think that's where a lot of people struggle too.
Yeah. I think it gets really easy to get in that spot where, you feel regret from all the times that you've messed up in the past, and you feel like you can't change that, or you start to identify with like being that person who just doesn't take action,
Yeah.
And the crazy thing about procrastination is like the main root of all procrastination, it really boils down to just fear, and fear of several different things. Like, you have like fear of success. If I'm successful, what does this mean? That's something that I've struggled with before, to be
all day, every day.
100% honest. Like, if I, you'll see in marriages where like, if I do get in shape, what does that mean? Does that mean that my husband will become jealous, or my wife will become jealous? If I do get in better shape, or I take action on this, does that mean that my friends who are not doing that will not, hang out with me as much, or want to be around me, or won't include me and stuff? And does that mean I have to leave my peer group? Fear of success, fear of failure is another one. That's the fear of failure is probably one of the biggest ones.
It is the biggest.
Procrastination,
Yeah.
And we do that all the time, because it's like, and that really boils down to, one of the things that I learned about that is this perfectionism, this myth of perfectionism. You'll see it a lot with people that call them a perfectionist, and we get into the spot where like, well, if I don't, I don't know how to do it, so I probably won't do it perfect, fear of failure. And if I don't do it perfect, then what does that say about me? And this happens a lot of times where like people attach their identity and their self-worth to being perfect at something, to their knowledge level, their intelligence and stuff, which has been something I've struggled with myself too, where like, if I fail at this and I don't do it perfect, that means that I'm a failure, and I'm not as smart, and I'm not as good, and I'm not, I'm less than, right?
Yeah.
Which is a major issue. And it's important to understand that like, nothing's perfect, right?
Yeah.
And so like, we got to throw that out the window, and you're gonna fail. Like, I always say, like, we have to try. You have to go after failure and like shoot to fail, man. Shoot to fail, because like, that's the only way you get better. You have to fucking fail as much as possible. And go like,
learn, grow,
exactly.
Everything. It all revolves around everything we're talking about, dude. Yeah.
Exactly, bro.
And and I think, other than fear of failure and fear of success and stuff, another reason why people procrastinate, I've seen it all the time in myself and in others, but it's not knowing where to start.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a big one, man. That's a big one, 100%.
If you want to get fit and you want to start your fitness journey, you can be super fucking motivated to do it. Like, oh, tomorrow I'm going to start. But then tomorrow comes and you're like, what the fuck do I do? What do I do? And that's where people get stuck. Like, they keep pushing it back. And that goes for everything, not just fitness. Like, if you want to, go get that new job or try that new hobby, if you don't know where to start, you don't know the roadmap to success on that, it's going to cause you to keep pushing it back and push to the side. And that kind of leads into what we were talking about earlier, and how we write our stuff down, what we're going to do every day, and how important that is, because it's helping us take baby steps to get to where we want to be. And so stepping stones, because when you have that roadmap to success, you're going to do it. It's easy, because it's going to get you to where you need to be.
Yeah, exactly. And Man, that's such a great point. Not knowing where to start can hold you back. And the thing about it too, like that I always tell people is like, if you don't know where to start, like one thing we always tell people is like, if you want to be successful, you do have to have a plan. But then people look at that and they go, well, I don't have a plan. So like, what do I do? Like, I don't know how to get a plan. What do they, like, so like, here's the thing. Like, if you don't have a plan for working out, but you just got to start, you got to build momentum. Like we talked about in the beginning, it all goes together.
Full circle, baby.
It all goes together like Legos, baby. Like Legos, it's like success is like Legos, brother. Success is like Legos.
Metaphor.
Right? Metaphors everywhere, brother. But for real, like one of the things I tell people is like, just you start off by eating, if you don't know what to do to diet, start off by eating real food that human beings were meant to eat, even if you don't have your macros dialed in right away. And then we'll figure that shit out. You don't know what to do for your workout, start off by getting off your ass and walking around the block. You don't know which gym to join yet. That's okay. Walk around the block, go to the first gym you see, check it out. You don't like it, go to the next one. Yeah. You finally get a gym membership, you don't know what to do. That's okay. Go walk around the treadmill and then, start researching. Maybe you do the wrong thing at the gym the first couple of times. You realize you're doing the wrong gym. Then you figure out the right thing. But you don't learn unless you take action. You're not going to wake up and be like, oh, okay, here's the perfect plan. I automatically know exactly how to do everything and I'm going to go fucking crush it. That doesn't work. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. I think people think like that, man. Is like they'll wake up and it's the perfect plan's gonna come to them. Or
if I just Google one more thing, right?
Yeah. If I keep believing it's gonna come to me, it's gonna come to me. No, get off your ass and take action and do something about it. Yeah,
and it's because there's never going to be that perfect scenario where you Google that thing and all of a sudden, or you all of a sudden have the perfect amount of money, or you meet the perfect person, you find the perfect gym and with the perfect workout program. You don't just wake up and all that shit's there for you.
No, exactly.
So you go through it just by just by completely messing everything up and then figuring it out. By hiring the wrong trainer and realizing that he doesn't know what he's doing and stuff. And then finding the right one, going to walking in the front door from the wrong gym, realizing that it smells and it's not clean. And then, going out and going to the one next door and finding the one that works, that's how it works, man.
I feel like this might be a little like spiritual and shit, but like, I feel like life kind of tests people in that scenario. Like if you are super closed-minded and sticking to your routine and you're not growing, like you're not going to get that reward of happiness or personally growing. But when you do take action, you do get out that comfort zone, good things always happen. And I feel like that's when life comes back around and rewards you for that. Yeah. And then you feel good. And then that's when you start building the momentum and then the Legos start coming together and then you're fucking doing
it. Exactly, brother. You know what? Well, pressure breeds diamonds, right? And we see this we see this everywhere. And this is like, it's a good example of like they always talk about how like people that win the lottery end up losing all their money, right?
Yeah.
They don't know how to be rich. Like as simple as that. You got someone who's broke who doesn't they're broke for a reason, right? They're not just broke because they got fucked for the most part. They're normally broke because they've maybe made poor financial decisions. They didn't have a plan. They were undisciplined perhaps. And they didn't educate themselves or invest in themselves. Or, I've made a fair amount of bad financial decisions over the years. I know for sure, you have to learn how to be successful. You don't just wake up successful, you learn how to become successful. And that's true of anything, fitness, of business, of having a friendship, you learn how to be a good friend, of having a good relationship, how to love people, you learn how to do that by messing it up, 100%. So, and that's, so like whether it's spiritual or not, it's a fundamental universal law, I think,
totally, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
I like, as they say, when the student's ready, the teacher appears, right? And for the student to be ready, the student has to get up off his ass and go and do something to show they're ready,
Exactly. Yeah. That's just like something I've noticed in my life recently. It's just like getting out there, doing new things that I haven't been doing. I'm a happier dude. I'm super happy. I love being happy.
Yeah. And it just seems like things fall into place when you're taking action. Like,
Yeah.
when you get out there and you're not worried about screwing up and failing, and you're just going like, and you understand that like, dude, failure's part of it, man. Failure's just part of it. It comes with the territory. It's going to happen whether I like it or not.
Yeah. Don't get caught up in your thoughts and your emotions
Yeah.
and shit. Just do the damn thing.
Exactly, bro.
Oh yeah.
Well,
All
should we
right.
wrap it up?
Yeah, man. We just talked for like, well, probably almost an hour on
Yeah.
momentum, support, procrastination. We had other things we want to talk about, but we'll save that for another time because we just went off on that. I love it.
Exactly.
This has got to be our best one yet. What do you think?
Yeah, man. I feel good about it. I
don't know if it was this Starbucks I had before.
Yeah, I grabbed the 0-calorie green monster. Which
you love those. You love those,
bro.
I'll try one this weekend.
Give it a whirl, bro. Give it a whirl. Try. We just been talking about. Listen up, brother. We've just been talking about trying new things, brother.
Try new things. Take it. My life is gonna be so much better when I try that green monster.
It is, bro. It's
a game changer.
You gotta get out of your comfort zone, brother. You can't be sitting around your comfort zone.
I've always been so close-minded on the regular ones. The blue ones. Green is scaring me, but I'm
bro. Well, the original color is green, but this isn't the original one.
No, that's lime green.
The original one's full of sugar, and that's for
no.
That's for guys that we don't endorse that stuff, brother. We don't endorse sugar, brother.
All right, everybody. Hey, if you're still listening, we appreciate you. We love you. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this was valuable to you, share it to a friend. It's probably going to be valuable to somebody else. We sure hope it is. Leave us some comments below wherever you're listening to this for suggestions on maybe what we should talk about next time. And yeah, so
see you next time.
Episode 3. That's a wrap. See you later.